So one thing that we did say initially was like we're probably not going to talk about movie and TV stuff too much, and I think every single week we've mentioned some
It's the
adaptation
season
or
for it.
like,
What can we say?
well, and I do like talking about it. So two from Ubisoft, right? Essentially, so Beyond Good and Evil, and then also we'll talk about another property. I'm not wrong there, right? Ubisoft's good Beyond Good and Evil.
Correct.
Yeah. So Beyond Good and Evil, very much a cult classic. It was rumored and teased back in 2008, and then we had an official reveal. And
The
even when I
sequel,
saw that,
we should say.
yeah, sorry, the sequel, yeah, Beyond Good and Evil 2, we had the reveal around E3 2017, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. Sometimes with these big cult classics, when there is a sequel coming out and it kind of clicks with you, for me personally, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll jump in and get to know this. So there's a movie coming out through Netflix. So it's actually, is it the director from Detective Pikachu? Is that right?
I'm not sure if he's the director, but that's the properties he's worked on: Detective Pikachu and the Goosebumps movies.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So it could be an EP or something like that.
yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but so it's meant to be apparently a live action animated feature. Like, makes sense if they're a lot of the characters in Beyond Good and Evil 1 and 2 are and I can never say this word. What is it? Anthropomorphic. Did I? That's a
Anthropomorphic,
horrible
yeah.
word to say. Um, like Paige, who's a pig, and like a giant pig that's like a mechanic, and then there's quite a few, just like hippo. I don't know if they're hippos or elephants. I think they're hippo characters, no, rhino characters. That's it. Rhino characters that you interact with. Lots of weird, charming characters. I am a huge fan of the first game. I played it. I bought it for GameCube. I repurchased it when they brought the HD version out on PlayStation, Xbox, and I'm really pumped for Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's a shame we haven't heard anything about it in a while. But
Mm.
what we saw of it when, last, like we saw a lot of it. So it was definitely really far along in certain respects then. So it's a shame that it's gone quiet since. But I'm really looking forward to the
Well,
sequel.
just
But
just
it's
just on that, it's kind of odd, don't you think? Because I even went back and they had like a 40-minute playthrough of
yeah,
the
they
game.
showed heaps of the game.
Yeah, it's so weird, and it looked
The,
good.
the
Like it looked good.
My only
Like
thought is
what?
the scale of that game is so big that they just
Mm.
need that amount of time. And Michelle Ancel, I believe you pronounce it, who is famous for like the Rayman games and introducing rabbits and things, but he's behind Beyond Good and Evil, and it's the when it comes to, I guess, a movie based on it, you'd hope it's probably based on the first game, but you never know. It could be kind of to tie in with the Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is actually prequel. Um, but it's the world they built is fantastic. You could make a really good series or movie with that world, and you don't even have to relate it to the central plot line of either to make something cool. So yeah,
Mm.
I would 100% watch that. But I will say, with any video game movie, it's always, well, wait until you see the trailer. But knowing Netflix's track record with that stuff, they usually deliver. Like they usually release what they say they're going to release. So
Yeah, and it's amazing the amount of stuff they're releasing. Like, I'm very old school, so I still feel like they're not real movies, quote unquote. Not really that extreme, but you know what I mean by that. It doesn't feel the same as a Quentin Tarantino film coming out or something like that. But they are kind of getting into that space well and truly
yeah,
now, where I just have to treat it like any other thing that's coming out. So, and I should just call out that Rob Letterman did write and direct Detective Pikachu, and I actually really loved that movie.
and it made a
Like I
ton of
thought for what
money.
it was,
So
yeah, and it was great. And I'm kind of actually surprised that he wasn't involved in the sequel. Given he kind of helmed, like the fact that he wrote and directed the first one. Typically, people like that you think would want to craft the next story, but maybe sort of do one of those films and that maybe one enough. So yeah, no, I'm definitely interested to see this because I really like Detective Pikachu and that universe is really
and
interesting.
I
And
will
just
say, you could definitely watch Beyond Good and Evil movie without playing the games. So
yeah, No, and that's what I'm intending to do. And then talking about another Ubisoft IP getting a bit of a translation into Netflix.